Hello, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Central European Time, and it is ESC Fan TV. Oh, they seem to have dusted me off and brought me out of the store cupboard. Yes, I'm back for another year. And joining me this evening, looking at that fabulous Luxembourg Song Contest from last night, I have a fabulous panel of guests. We've got the lovely Sean. Good evening, Sean.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be back. Looking forward to this.
We've got the marvellous Elliot.
Hello, a bit like Tom. I think it's the first time I've been here since the Eurovision finals, so they've found me again and wheeled me out, so we'll see how this goes.
The brilliant Mick.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, what a cracking show it was.
The excellent Alina.
Hello, and seeing Elliot here makes me rethink of the sentence, is Elliot's music taste always wrong?
Given the results last night, yes.
We'll find out about that later. And also, we've got the amazing Paul and Andrew.
Hi, everyone.
Lovely to be back.
And it's great to see you all as well. Now, don't forget, join in the conversation with us. Join us on YouTube. Put something in the comments. It's nice to see some of the regulars. Here we've got Neil, Lee, Ian, Phil. Good evening, everyone. Join us in and comment as we go along. Now, we'll do some general comments about the show later on. But first of all, guys, let's just dive straight in. We're going to look at the first 4 songs from last night to begin with, which means we're looking at Rafaela, No Thank You, Rhythmic Soul Wave, Stranger, Zach, Je Danse, and one last time, Gambler's Song. Let's take a look and see what you think.
J'ai fini par échouer. Ton chant m'a mis dans un état, je ne peux pas m'évader. Je danse quand tu n'es pas là, je danse. Je ris. 'Cause I have gambled everything away. Hey. 'Cause I have gambled everything away.
Now, we know the voters last night did say no thank you to Rafaela, but what about Elliot? What did you think of song number 1?
It was my personal favourite of the 7. You know, is there a slight bias there? I don't know. And for those who do not know, the reason I say that is because last year I did write and release a song with Rafaela. She is a phenomenal woman and a phenomenal singer. I genuinely thought this was going to do so much better than it did. Opening the show is never easy, especially when, as we'll get on to, your first real performance is Conchita doing Rise Like a Phoenix, and then you've got to follow that is one of the most daunting things I think you can ever be given. It was a safe pop song, yes, but I also thought because there was a lot of dynamics in the show and a lot of things which could have gone wrong, she was the ultimate safe backup, and we've seen it before where the big risk goes wrong, you have got something you can fall back on. I thought she sang fantastically, probably the best because the mixing was a little bit off last night and some did sound ropier than others. And yeah, I don't understand what the juries didn't respond to with this and why the public put it last, because normally this is something the fandom love. The jury seemed to go mad for. She wrote it herself. Yes, it was, a Swedish inspired pop song, but she still wrote it. She performed it like mad. Some of the camera work was sloppy, I will say, because there were some random wide shots which seemed like a mistake. But I think she did an absolutely fantastic job and set the bar for the final, to be honest. I wouldn't have had her open. I wasn't happy that she opened because of that reason, because I wanted her to win. But it's hard to see that she did finish last because I don't think she deserved it in the slightest. And yeah, I am a bit gutted, but I think she was fantastic and the song is a great little pop song. You know, it's the most streamed song out of the 7 behind the winner, which I think going into it did hold some weight, and it made me think something could have happened, but ultimately not to be. And yeah, I'm a little bit bitter, but you know, she should be very, very proud of herself. She did a very good performance, so it is what it is.
Thanks, Elliot. And I mean, it is tough when you're opening a show. I'm going to bring Sean in on this one because Neil's put it's never a good idea to open a show with a previous winner from the contestants' point of view. Do you reckon that affected Rafaela's chances in the end last night?
I'm not sure. I mean, it is a big ask, let's face it. I mean, Rise Like a Phoenix, such a huge and a massively popular song. I mean, where do you go? All of that. I mean, I don't think it would have affected the chance that much with there only being 7 songs, to be fair. I did like the song. It was a good punchy beat. It was a good opener. I think Rafaela really is, her voice is probably more suitable for a big power ballad. Elliot, I thought the song that you wrote for her, Storm Clouds, is it?
Yeah, it's a Motown jazz-inspired big band, like in the ilk of like the Mamas and Destiny. And
she sounded phenomenal on that, and that's a really good song. In fact, Elliot, and I'm not just sucking up here, but I think that song was better than this song. But
thank you.
I don't know if she's necessarily got the stage presence for this type of song. She's not. Do you know what I mean? She doesn't quite have the dance moves to pull it off. It's a good, memorable start to the show. It was a good song, but yeah, I could come back and do a big power ballad next year.
There we go. There's a hint there for a power ballad. Mick, just to bring you in on this as well, would you agree with that? Is it time for Rafaela to bring out the power ballad for next year?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think so. Yeah. I mean, like everybody said, it was a really good opener, and I thought she performed it really, really well. Like people have said, I think some of the mixing, and it wasn't just her, but on some of the other entrants, it didn't do her any favors. But I think she still rose above it.
Yeah, I think she did, and it's never easy. Sorry, opening a show like that. Let's move on to song number 2. Song number 2 was Rhythmic Soul Wave. They performed the song Stronger. Andrew and Paul, was this the strongest song in your opinion?
Wasn't necessarily the strongest song. I enjoyed it though. I think it was really good. Although I think the songs in general last night, I thought personally, were all of them were kind of heard it all before. You know, they're all kind of copies, clones of other songs that have entered. Not necessarily a bad thing, but I didn't find anything completely original last night. That said, Rhythmic Soul Wave. Yeah, it was sort of, dare I say, Rise Like a Phoenix Part 2. It was very Bond-esque, very big. I mean, big sort of brass, but a big orchestral sound. I thought that the trumpeteers, I think that they've got to learn from the fact that you can't play a trumpet on Eurovision. You can't play live instruments. So, you know, did they learn anything from James Newman? I don't think it was actually a live trumpet sound. I think it was like a synthesized.
Sorry, guys. We keep on getting some interference of your microphone there. People like brushing up against the microphone. I don't know what's going on there.
Okay, it might be in a piece of paper that I've got down. Sorry about that. The first thing I thought about the song when it first went was the singer. She's a fantastic singer. The first thought I had was like Macy Gray. I thought she sounded very similar. Yeah, I mean, it was a good song. One of my favorites from the night. but I just feel like I've heard it before, like a lot of the other songs. What did you think?
For me, I thought it was probably the classiest song, but it was never going to be a choice for Eurovision. It was it was quite sophisticated in a lot of ways, and it wasn't something that would probably appeal to the audiences, but may appeal to the juries. What I did like was I thought her voice was amazing. I think she had one of the best voices in the whole competition. I thought the dynamic of the group actually appearing with the instruments, although they weren't playing, actually worked quite well. It had a feel almost though, and I agree with one thing, a lot of the songs that we heard last night were, I wouldn't say clones, but they reminded you of other songs.
Mashups.
So, for example, this one reminded me of the Mamas. A lot of the things, like the first song reminded me of Elena from sort of like Cyprus.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, that. And I'm going to go to Elliot because we know Elliot has written some music and stuff on this. What do you reckon? Was there a line being ridden between inspiration and perhaps not? Well,
yeah, it's
plagiarism's a dirty word. We'll settle for perhaps.
It's
admiration.
I will say one.
There we go.
Yeah, I will say one thing regarding songwriting and all that sort of stuff. It is very, very difficult today, and especially in the world of Eurovision, to sound completely original. Everything sounds like something. And when I write, I do take references. I do send songs that I want it to sound in a similar vein to. So, for example, going back to Raphael and the song I did with her, I did pick Destiny's All of My Love as the inspiration behind it. I wanted that sort of hand clappy and that energy behind it. Obviously, you made sure that it was inspired but not copying. And I think that's the main thing. I think there are some worse songs which are very, very close to, say, being on the borderline of plagiarism. And I will say Belgium is a one of this, and we'll comment that next week. And I'm sure everyone knows which one it is. But it's very hard to not sound like something else, especially, like, say, with Rafaela, when you've got a very typical Latin pop samba song, you are going to go to Firefighter, Fuego, Slow-Mo. Your brain does instantly go there because it's got that sort of rhythm.
That's partly why maybe she didn't do as well with the juries, because they were professional sort of like jurors and musicians. But I was surprised that the public didn't go for that.
And, Rhythmic Soul Wave
didn't deserve to come last.
And Rhythmic Soul Wave, there's so little jazz in Eurovision that when you hear a jazz song, especially by a black woman of color, your brain will go to those sorts of people like the Mamas, because that's just how their voices are trained. And I think Rhythmic Soul Wave landed exactly where I thought last night. Jury loved it, public not so much, but it was, again, put on the classiest songs we're going to get all year. And she was phenomenal, Carmen, the singer.
Mm. I mean, I think it's very difficult because, I mean, let's face it, as someone who's studied music as well, there are only so many chords, there are only so many chord combinations, and therefore you're operating within a kind of finite kind of medium in that, because because there are only so many chord progressions that will sound okay and things like that. So there's only so much to play with. So to be inventive, I think, is possibly the greatest challenge of all, especially when writing music in the modern age, when, let's face it, we've all heard and written so much of it, particularly in the modern world, because let's face it, it's a lot easier to get a hold of music now than it probably was 100 years ago, and so on. But speaking of songs that sound like songs, I had an interesting conversation with Alina before the show as we move on to song 3, which is Lusac, Je Danse. And the first thing Alina said to me was, Eric Sada. Now, we all know Alina's, do we call it an obsession these days?
15 minutes, 36 seconds, if I want to timestamp that.
So I was going to say, do we call it an obsession these days, Alina, or do we just call it,
The question is,
an
can I
avid
do
fan.
go without mentioning Eric Sade? But in my defense, they were asking for it. Sorry. First of all,
Stalker.
no. First of all, I didn't like the start of the act with the sound box moving and then the singer multiplying. Anyway, when he was then alone on the stage, in my head, it was like it's popular mixed with every minute. In my head, I was like, he took inspiration from that and continued with it. But anyway, also for a song that is called Je danse, he wasn't dancing a lot. I'm just saying, like, if the song is called I'm Dancing, like, I want to see you dance. I want to see you, Benjamin Ingrosso, Luca Hani dancing on the stage. And in my defense, I didn't see him. I saw his dancers dance, but I didn't see him dance. So I'm just saying that.
That's a really. Do you know what? That is a really good point though, because if you're going to call it Je danse, then surely we would expect perhaps a little bit more movement. Although I could quite understand why he wouldn't go for something as bold as Benjamin Ingrosso, because from memory that was quite spectacular what he managed to do. Mick, do you agree with the Eric Sade parallels there? Mick, are you there? Oh,
Hello, Mick. Are you there?
he seems to have frozen. Do you know what? We'll go to Sean and then we'll go to Mick. Sean.
Oh, Mick, bless him.
John,
Also,
do you agree with me?
I don't know. I mean, does the title of the song necessarily have to reflect what's happening on stage to the singer? I mean, rise like a phoenix. You're not going to set Conchita on fire, are you? No. I mean, I thought this song. It's all. Come back later, Mick. My go now. I thought this was a great performance. I thought the staging was unique. I thought it was fabulous. I like the repetitive sort of reflections, sort of effect on the screen. I like the graphical overlays that they used. I thought the dancers were brilliant and they were there to support him and they did a good job. It was a great dance song. There was a few picture moments, but I think there was in pretty much every song during the show. But it was my second favourite of the night, to be honest. I really, really liked it. I liked his cheeky smile to the camera and I really like that. I'm glad it did so well. But yeah, it is taking a lot. It is taking a little bit of inspiration from Eric Sade and Fest. And in fact, let's face it, the whole Luxembourg Song Contest was trying to replicate Melfest a little bit, I think, in the staging of some of the songs.
But
the nature of the songs,
fabulous
definitely.
job.
Oh gosh, absolutely,
I
loved it. Yeah.
And in some ways, I think Melfest could take some hints in terms of kind of how they approach some of it, because Melfest tries to be very up to date and current, doesn't it? But I think it was lovely to see Marianne again. Sorry, but anyway, let's get Mick's opinions on this because I see him nodding, so it's clearly unfrozen. Mick, what did you think of this one?
Well, every time Eric Sade gets mentioned, I'm going to come up with Marco Mengoni. So I'll raise you that. I didn't hear Eric Sade at all, thank God. Out it was from the Pocket Rocket. It was an absolute belter. But unfortunately, with some of the sound quality of the song, it wasn't as good as the studio version, really. And to be honest, it was my favourite going into the competition, but it came down to seconds because it was a little bit disappointing, the kind of vocal quality, really, for me anyway. But overall, and that it was
Yeah,
picked
your
into.
sound is dropping out
So,
there a little bit.
you know,
Mick.
I don't. Yeah, I think this on my screen, everybody seems to be going off and coming in. I don't know if that's everybody's experience, but
I wish that we'd not gone to Mick 2 years ago, because
yeah, it just seems
he's
to be
even
going
got a T-shirt with
on,
the logo
but,
on as well.
Oh,
Mick, you
dear.
do. It's not 2023.
well, yeah, I've had to go retro because I couldn't find a new one.
Didn't anybody? One thing that worried me with this
But
song.
anyway, there you go.
Sorry, the one
Go on,
thing that
Paul.
worried me with this song was apparently it was written by the people who wrote the code by Nemo, and I think it had similarities with a lot of the pacing of the code as well. I thought the staging was amazing, but
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I think.
But yeah,
I
I
think.
think it was too much of a copy in some ways. It had a vibe of that.
I think that can be said of a lot of things. I think it'd be difficult to
Yeah.
copy. I can see what you mean about the pacing.
But you don't
Um,
do the same. It's like when Glorious went after Euphoria. It was a good song, but it was so similar to the winner. So you have to do something different to what won the year before.
absolutely. The best way forward, isn't it, is to invent, not copy.
Yeah.
I will say it only did have one from the code, which is Linda Dahler, who's a songwriter, not a producer. So
Right.
the lyrics may be similar, but the music was done completely. The music was actually led by Edson from last year. So as I said, there's only one member on that, who is Linda Dahler, who's popping up in every national final now. She's won Eurovision, and she's also been announced on the Cypriot song as well. So we're going to hear a lot from her this year, I think.
She's doing the rounds, as it
She's doing
were.
Tommy Jason.
She's making her money, and more power to her.
Oh, it's not Thomas Jeeson, is it? It's the other one, and I'm trying to think of her name. And as soon as I think of
Linnea
it,
Deb?
No, I'm sure there's another one. It'll come to me.
Oh.
I'm still warming up. They only brought me out of storage an hour ago. I'm still rebooting. Now, let's move on to song number 4. Now, song number 4 was sung by One Last Time, The Gambler's Song. Now, from my point of view, I thought they tried to replicate, as it happens sometimes in Eurovision, a high note that is slightly displeasing to the ear. But I thought I'd gamble by asking Sean what his opinion was on this song.
Well, it's a gamble. Because I didn't like it at all. Sorry. I thought the song didn't go anywhere. Let's not have a chorus. Let's just sing la 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 la. No, it was lazy. He even missed the big note. Well, it was no. Sorry. Go on to somebody else. I don't nothing nice to say about it. Sorry.
Yeah, well, see, this is the thing, though, isn't it? It's the song you expected that was going to come last that didn't. Is that really harsh? I'll go to Paul and Andrew. What did you guys think of this?
It was a bit weird, really. Really, I mean, honestly, the lyrics. Why are you writing a song? I couldn't. It's like, are they trying to glorify gambling or something? I don't know. I lost everything gambling, and it was I'm fine. You know, like I don't know. It's just very, very strange. I found
It was. I admire them for trying something different, and I think we'll come to this later. In the fact that it was interesting that there were so many different styles of song, so that was something to be applauded. And I think to me it just didn't quite ring true. The lyrics didn't actually match up to the song.
Yeah, I can see that, and I think maybe it's best summed up. I think Neil sums it up very well. There wasn't anything wrong with this song, but then there wasn't anything right either. Alina, I can see you nodding your head in agreement there. I mean,
Yeah.
what's your take on this?
To be honest, the same. Like, it wasn't great. It wasn't, that bad, but it was really, then again, bad. It had me just zoned out. And when a song does you zone out, then you know it's bad.
and the high note was horrendous. Let's face it.
Well, that's it. The high
I think it
note
was
really.
almost like what the UK used to try and do for a long time, just get points from everyone. So they tried to write a song that was middling, rather than some people will absolutely love it and some people will hate it, and you hope that more people will love it than hate it. And that, in a way, is almost like this song. It was just a bit too safe. It didn't go with the full country vibe that I think they wanted to, but just it was sort of like.
Yeah, I think it just didn't work, did it?
The thing is, though,
sorry,
which
one last time.
no one's actually mentioned about the Zoolander-esque jacket Andrea, the lead singer, was wearing. That was a choice. And yeah, they still got third in the televote. So one last time, I'd say an established band and have clearly got a very good fan base, because although that high note went wrong, which Andrea can hit and has done, didn't help. It was in the recap as well, but it still didn't matter last night. And this is very in line with what they've released in the last year, I think. But it's that sort of thing, like you've got quite an anthemic good song and your chorus is just 3 lines of la la la's. I'm like, surely one of you could have come up with something.
In Luxembourg? Are they a well-known band?
It's just, I'm very surprised this did as well as it did, because I did think based on that live it was the weakest. But a lot happened last night which we didn't anticipate.
This is true. Now, guys, we have done the first 4 songs. So we have got 3 to go. But obviously, we need to recap them. So sit back, take a minute, take a chill, and listen to this.
But then I wonder why you have humanized. You have humanized. You and shall look what you once were. And I can't find any trace left behind but those human eyes. Retiens bien la leçon. La poupée mon clochon. Méfie-toi mon garçon. La poupée mon clochon. Because you know what? Even though it's going south, we are never slowing down this ride. Because you know what? We are never growing up and we are never gonna stop this ride.
Well, I'm sure long-time viewers of the show will realise what song has actually made it onto my Spotify this week. But we did listen to Mana, Human Eyes, Laura Thorne, La Poupée, Monteleçon, and 0.5 Ride. We're going to start off with song number 5. So we're going to look at Mana, Human Eyes first. Over to Elliot.
So aside from Rafaela, this was my favourite on first listen. I adored it. I love the message behind it of it's the aftermath of a toxic spiraling relationship. I like the whole fact she's saying, like, who is this person in front of me now? Like, I can see something no one else can. Really clever. What the bloody hell was she wearing? I saw when she was stood there, and I was watching my friend who hadn't seen anything, and I was like, oh, it looks like she's in a wedding dress. That's not good. And then we got closer, and it was just a really boxy corset which didn't fit, with hooks and just strands of this organza fabric. And I just went, oh my dear God, who has put that together? Who's put that on you? And why have you gone, yes, I'll take it? It was awful.
But it was memorable. See, you've remembered
it. But I was then confused and distracted from the whole song. I mean, what the backing singers were wearing, and that was quite classy. I liked that. And I quite liked, in elements, the staging. Again, some of the camera was a bit weird, where she was going from one part of the stage to the other, and it was all side on. I don't know why there wasn't a camera she was facing towards. She sang it better than the studio, in the sense of, in the studio version, she sounded too happy about something that was so traumatic and confusing to her. This had a bit more fragility, a bit more fear, and a bit more pain in it. It reminded me a bit of Blanche, where, because she was so terrified, it actually leaned into the aspect of City Lights, which worked in her favour. I mean, she wanted to run off that stage as soon as it finished, but it worked in her favour. This was very pretty, and Mana's actually got a very, very good voice. And I've heard some of the other stuff when listening to them all. If she is to return, I think she should. I think she should come back with a song in a lower key. I think that was the main issue. It was maybe a bit too high for her at points. Again, I love Humanize. I love the concept of it. I think it was okay, but the issue was it was just a bit too middling, and it didn't stand out in any dramatic sense musically. But then, say the outfits perhaps and everything else around it just made it confusing. I will say that final shot which you've got where the pink lights come on and actually flood what she's wearing actually looks really nice, and I wish they had done that more throughout the whole composition or the whole stage for 3 minutes. But yeah, good song, questionable concept, questionable outfit. I'm still going to listen to it. You know, it's still probably going to be one of my favorites this year.
There we go. Thank you, Elliot. Let's go on to Mick on this one. What are you thinking?
Yeah. When I the Belarus group, was it Val or Dal? I can't remember, but I think they want the beads back. You know, the cancelled concert. But yeah, for me, this was the one that improved the most from, as Elliot said, from the studio version. And come up in my, you know, about
your connection's still very dodgy there, Mick.
It was. I think they were going to be, you know, that one didn't stand out as much.
Thanks, Mick. Paul and Andrew, let's come to you on this as well. What are your thoughts on this one? Do you agree that it was all? I mean, Lee said it's a bit messy. Dan said it's not memorable. Neil's questioned the budget, actually, for props and staging. But
I have to say,
what was your take?
For me, I actually quite liked this song. This was my second favourite of the night. I thought it was quite an interesting concept for the song. I liked her vocals on it. To me, I can understand why people say it's not memorable. It's sort of like almost like a floaty light song in a lot of ways, where it just trickles along and doesn't go anywhere very much, but it actually had quite a good quality to it. I also I understand what you mean about the should we say the corset and everything. I wasn't actually looking at her. I was looking at the fact that they had the guts to have one of the backing singers was actually, I think, 6-7 months pregnant, and I just thought that was quite a nice thing to see.
I didn't notice that. I think
it's already on my.
Did anyone else notice it?
It's already on my Spotify sort of like playlist.
There we go. People shaking their heads to that. But do you know what? It's nice to hear some positive praise for it. Andrew, are you in agreement as well?
Paul, me.
Paul, sorry, wrong way round.
Yeah, don't worry.
I'm a teacher. You'd never guess, would you?
No, I don't really agree. This one, I didn't like this one. Don't really have much to say about it. I thought it was a bit dull. The staging was okay, I thought, but didn't like the song.
Fair enough. Right, we're gonna skip song 6 for obvious reasons at the moment. But you know, I thought we'd talk about song 7, 0.5 Ride. I mean, it's everything you'd want in a song, isn't it? Really, a little bit of yeehaw, a little bit of country there, a little bit of bounce, a little bit of, you know. I personally, if it had been I mean, let's face it, the televote didn't lie, did it? You know, I personally would have quite liked to have seen this one in Basel. Not wanting to give the game away about what songs made it onto my Spotify this week, but I thought it was a fabulous song. I quite enjoyed it, but then I always quite enjoy those types of songs, especially in the national selections, because I think they're absolutely fabulous and they just make you feel really happy and they're bouncy. And it's brilliant, and I can't gush about it enough. Much to the amusement of most people, but I'm going to go to Sean because Sean's laughing. I think I might have a kindred spirit here. Have I got a kindred spirit?
No. I mean, the group are aptly named because if you ask me to score this out of 12, I'd probably give it 0.5. Sorry. I mean, I wasn't a great fan of it. It was okay. It just feels like a Melfest reject song. I don't know. I just a little bit lazy and generic, and the vocals were poor. And sorry, Tom, I'm really, really sorry. But coming after song 6, which we'll talk about soon, I'd like, right, you know, let's turn it off now and put Traitors USA on. I'm like,
I mean, thanks for cushioning the blow, Sean. I mean, that was really, really nice of you to put it in such lovely terms.
I'm sorry. It's how I felt.
It's
Perhaps
all
it's the
right.
medication.
For me or you, that's the question. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Right. Oh, I don't know whether to go to Alina or Elliot. Do you know what? I'm going to go to Alina and then Elliot. There we go.
Okay, first of all, I'm very curious to that Spotify playlist. Like, can you send me a link because I want to hear it? I do see why you like that so much. It's like a totally happy song with a vibe, and it is like you say, it makes you happy. And I think it's my guilty pleasure of this year so far. But yeah, it was not going to win. We all know that.
See, Alina could cushion that blow. Notice. You know, she wants a link to the Spotify, Sean. I could send you that link as well. Just saying, just throwing it out there. Elliot, over to you.
I will say this firstly. Again, I was watching with somebody who had not heard these songs before, and he did turn around and say he could see that doing very, very well with the televote because of the fact it was a happy, clappy, bounce along song. I get why it closed because you end on a high note. However, as someone else I've heard say this, it is the most straight white man song on the planet. It really is. None of them sang in tune. They were flat through it the entire time. And this is a band who've been together for the best part of 15 years. So I think that's why they won the televote, because they were hugely known and had a huge following within Luxembourg, which isn't much, it's a small nation, but still. But this, when I saw this was closing, all I thought was, why? Why are we ending with this dance band, Mumford & Sons, Moonshine? I mean, I'm sure when I've had 4 or 5 drinks, this sounds fantastic. But if I'm, say, marking this like a juror, I'm agreeing with Harper who put it last. I'm sorry, Tom. I know you love these sorts of songs, but as long-time viewers know, I'm the opposite to that. I hate this sort of stuff. You know, it's not for me. It's not for me.
And this is why we always ask the question, is Elliot's music taste always wrong?
No, this is why we have juries. Otherwise, we'd be talking about this going to Basel, and I don't think we could process that if that happens.
You couldn't process it. I wouldn't have too much of an issue. But, you know. Hey, ho, never mind. Right, okay. Justice for 0.5 added to my list, I believe. Right, guys, let's talk about the obvious one then. Laura Thorne, song number 6, La Poupée Monte le Son. Apologies to the French language that I've probably just butchered. Yes, I am on a 520-day streak on Duolingo, and I still can't speak a word of it. But let's go straight to Paul and Andrew. What were your thoughts on last night's winner?
I have to say, I'll go first.
Go on then.
The song for the studio version, I absolutely loved. I thought this was wonderful. It had Mika vibes to it. I thought it actually, and it also the fact that when we then saw the live performance and there was the sort of like the nod to Poupée de Son, I thought lovely. But this was probably the one that, although I wanted it to win, I was most disappointed with. I thought the vocals were a little bit weak. I also thought that the staging of it was awful, and it just detracted from the song. That said, I hope that they rejig it, the staging, to go to Basel, and I think then it could do quite well, because it's a very good song.
Yeah, well, we will discuss it. We'll discuss about how we think it's going to do in Basel later. What we'll do is we'll get the opinions on the song first, and then we've got to look at the moment of glory, haven't we, as well? And we've got a video package lined up for that. Paul.
Yeah, I loved the song from the first time I heard it. I don't agree with the staging. I thought it was quite clever staging, really. I thought I'd like to see it. It needs to be worked on, obviously. It needs to be something really special done with it, like using different angles, camera angles and things like that. I don't know. I never thought I'd enjoy a song that was actually an homage to a previous winner. It's like, you know, it's a real, it's a good idea. I like the way they've done it. I hope not too many people will do homages as a result of it. But I do think the right song won. I just couldn't tell you how well it's going to do at the concert, but at the competition.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll discuss that bit in a little while. Mick, let's come to you. What was your thoughts on Laura's performance last night?
Well, I'm always a sucker for a French language song, so you know, this was going to, you know, stand out as well as Luzak's as well for me. I was entranced. I think I don't think that they should take performance, but I liked it. I did think her vocal was a little bit light at times and did seem a little bit breathy. And I don't know whether if that's because she was being moved around and hoisted up by the dancers now and again. But yeah, I did like the little homage bit to Franz Gall at the beginning. So that's always going to get me, you know, on the right side. So they played the blinder there, you know. So yeah, I think overall it was a good was
we seem to be losing you again there, Mick. But let's go to Elena.
Yes.
Was this your favourite on the night?
I think so. First of all, from the moment we saw that fragment from Poupée d'ici, Poupée d'ici, we knew. I mean, we knew she was going to win. But I didn't like the doll dancing at the first act of the song. I'm just not a fan of that type of dancing or staging. But then she took some clothes off, and I was like all for it. I was like, now it's starting, and it did. So I liked it way better since then, and I was like, yeah, this deserves to win then.
Yeah, I think the doll dance. The thing is, doll dancing like that. I mean, I don't know if anyone in here is familiar with the film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, when they perform in the castle and they do the Jack in the Box kind of doll dancing thing, and it's not a good look. I mean, let's be honest. It's not a good look. It's an amusing look. It's something I'd love to see changed when she goes to Basel. Elliot, would you like to see that bit changed in Basel?
Oh, yeah, my first point was going to be start from the beginning with this stage show. This, I genuinely thought last night Laura probably wasn't going to win because the vocal was off. Because you hear it, her voice is really struggling in the second chorus. And I'm like, you haven't done much. Because yes, she's dancing, but she's being moved. Her top half is not actually moving, it's her legs and her hips. So when she does the high note, she breathes and then she drops down the key. So I think she knew she was right on the antithesis of going off it. So she went to her backup, which is drop it into a lower key and like add some more dimension to it. I really didn't like the opening shot with France goal on the screen. I found that a little bit distasteful is the wrong word, but I think it's very clear the songwriters who gave this song to Laura did it with France goal in mind, and it was a continuation of that song. At that point, just make it an internal selection. It was very clear they wanted this song to win because it's been 60 years since France goal won. It's a continuation. They had that start with France goal on the screen and then say, her opening shot of it is France's goal. It just felt like this is so spearheaded, like to tug on emotional manipulation almost of remember this, that it just left a bit of a distaste in my mouth. I don't think she's a bad singer. Like, you know, she's 19 and this is her first song and, you know, she's done an incredible job. You can tell she's theatre trained and she's a theatre performer first and foremost. But a lot of that needs to change. I didn't like the outfit reveal. I thought the outfit underneath again was also quite tacky and distasteful. There's just a lot which, for me personally, they got wrong. The good thing is they can completely change it. And we saw how much Pfizer changed from the national final to the Malmö stage. And again, I think they do need to change it because this, as someone said last night, it was borderline staging-wise Rockefeller Street. It is too on the nose of that kitschness that it won't get taken seriously, and that is my concern. Because Laura can sing. She can sing it well, because, you know, they've also uploaded her audition. She can do well. But I think elements of this needs to adapt it. Yes, okay, the song is called The Doll Has the Sound, or The Doll Turns Up the Volume, something of that ilk. But this is like a song about female empowerment and stuff like that. Don't make her look like a doll or something. Give her something else that makes her look a bit more stronger, a bit more powerful, a bit more in charge. It's a conflicting one for me. And the reason I'm being so harsh is because this seemed like the runaway favourite. It was hers to lose. And it was very clear. It did feel like RTL wanted this to win. I do want to know which performance the jury's marked on, because if 7 of the 8 said that was the best on the live performance we saw last night, I do question that vocally. But, you know, there is time for things to change. And that is a good thing about having a national selection early. You've got 3 months to sort it out. You can revamp the song if you need to, but I don't think they will really need to. I just think the stage production needs to be changed, because it's one of these where it's going to need a lot of explaining of as a continuation of a song from 60 years ago in a language a lot of people don't speak.
Let's bring Sean in on that one, because I think it's an interesting point there. If you're playing on Pupa de Cia, Pupa de Sang, most modern Eurovision viewers, let's face it, most casual viewers of Eurovision, are they even going to remember the reference?
Yeah, I mean, probably not. Obviously, Eurovision fans will. But I mean, I love this. I mean, it's a little gem. It's a lovely little pop song. Let's not think it. I thought it was an endearing tribute to France Gall's song, like Ellie said, 60 years after a Eurovision win. And it's supposed to be some sort of sequel, perhaps, maybe. It just sounds Eurovision ready. The staging, yeah, there's probably a few problems with it. I mean, she is supposed to be a doll, but are there ways that they can do it better? I'm sure that there definitely are. I think this is probably going to ensure Luxembourg's second grand final qualification in a row. I think it's strong enough to qualify for the final. And I think out of 7 songs in the Luxembourg Song Contest this year, it's probably the only one that would, in my opinion. Are there issues with staging? Yeah, it's not perfect. But I don't think it detracts from the overall song if you just listen to the song. But we're 3 months. They can change it, and I'm sure they will change it. And they do need to change it. Yeah, I actually love it. I think it's a little gem. I love it.
Well, let's take a look at Laura's voting and winning moment, and we'll see where we think she's gonna come in Basel.
Our 12 points, and they go to Laura Thorne with Le Poupée Monte le Son.
Laura Thorne.
Laura Thorne, La Poupée Monte le Son.
Laura Thorne.
Laura Thorne.
Laura Thorne. La poupée monte le son.
And the points for Laura are 90! That makes a total of 149. The winner is Laura Thorne!
Also man steht Resultat von diesem unvergießlichen Ofen. Das Laura Thorne ist die Gewinner vom LSC 2025.
Tali! Yes!
Da ist auf der Bühne.
Thank you so much.
La poupée monte le son. Na 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 na. Retiens bien la leçon. Na 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 na. La poupée monte le son. Na 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 na. Méfie-toi mon garçon. Na 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 na. La poupée monte le.
Laura's winning moments there. Now, obviously, guys, we've only had 3 songs for Basel so far. So you know, this is a kind of stab in the dark on this one. But the question is she going to qualify? And where can you see her coming in the final? Okay, let's kick off. We're gonna go with Sean.
I mean, what a silly question when you've looked at 3 songs. Yes, she's going to qualify. Final 20th-ish, I think.
There we go. Elliot?
You know, amongst all my negativities of last night, it's still a very good song. Laura's still a very good singer. I do enjoy this song. Don't get me wrong. It's dramatic. It's got a good beat. It is catchy. Depending on who's in the semi-final, I'd say yes. If they get France or Belgium, definitely. If they get Portugal, absolutely. In the final, again, it depends who she's against. But I can see her glass ceiling maybe being about 15. I don't think it'll hit the heights of Tally. I don't think it's just not as commercial enough. But I think it could be just below it. Which, you know, for the second year back, they're still building their brand, I think is still very good. And I do think, as said last night, the show was incredible. That stage, that lighting, everything they had at disposal, they are really forming into something very strong. So I think their main thing is just to get back in the final, keep getting a decent result. And I think they could do about 15th, to be fair. Because, you know, the jury seemed to love it last night, and there's nothing saying they won't in, you know, Basel. She could be even better.
There we go. Andrew and Paul, where do you think she's going to come?
Yeah, I think it will qualify. She'll definitely qualify. Mid-table, I think. I mean, let's say left side of the board. I think. I don't think it's winning potential. I think it will do well in the clubs, though. I think they'll bring out some sort of remix, and it will do particularly well in Euro Club.
Screaming out for a Seventh Heaven remix,
isn't it?
I believe that's the
this
correct
is famous
term.
kiss of the death for her. I think this will definitely qualify, even if they keep the staging as it is. If they actually change the staging to not have the equivalent of sort of like the big giant trumpets that James Newman had, I think this could come top 5. I absolutely love this song.
Ooh, brave.
But I also got John Ludwig wrong, so.
So did John Ludwig, so that's fine. Alina, let's come to you.
Yeah, I can see this going to the final, but I don't see it ending high, especially when you see that in the national selection of Sweden we have maybe Måns Zelmerlöw. I'm having here high hopes for Belgium, so I don't, as we know the competition now, I don't see it like ending high.
There we go. And finally, Mick.
Yeah, I think like everybody else, I think it will qualify. It may qualify like that kind of 9th place, depending, as Sean says, on the semi-finals. I like Andrew. I like the catchiness of it, and I think that might be the thing that will, hold people. I think it could creep into the top 10, but as we know, we still to the competition.
Hey, thanks, Mick. Now, I kind of agree with Neil when he says, I don't think we've seen enough actual entries in Eurovision to say whether the other two will qualify. This or the other two will qualify. I totally agree with that. However, it's just a bit of fun, isn't it? Lees reckons 21st. Dan reckons it's not going to go any higher than 10th. John Boy reckons borderline to qualify, 24th in final. Johnny reckons it's got 18th written all over it. Personally, I reckon the nostalgia aspect is a good story, and let's face it, the press love a good story, so this is going to get some publicity, and it's probably going to be enough to get it through the semi-finals, partly because there aren't actually that many songs in the semi-finals anymore because so many countries have dropped out. Hello, Moldova. But I think in the final, yeah, it's got a bit of a glass ceiling to try and smash through, and I can't see it doing that. With apologies to the brave prediction of 5th, but we move on. Luxembourg put on a fabulous show last night, which was an absolute delight. I was lucky enough to be in Rockhull last year to watch it. I think they won better this year. I was ashamed not to be there, but yeah, you never know. If they do it again next year, I might tip up and have a look. Now, guys, we are close to the hour mark, and it is sadly almost time to say goodbye. But what I do want to do is remind everyone, you included, and all the viewers at home as well, that ESC Fan TV is very much back as we swing into Eurovision season. Make those notes in your diary. We are back Friday 31st. It's Greece, and that's at 9 p.m. Central European time, obviously 8 p.m. if you're in the UK. Stu is back. Yes, he is back with Melfest post-show fantasticness. He's going to be going live from 9 p.m. UK time, 10 p.m. Central European time, every Saturday night from Saturday as we battle our way through Swedish Melody Festivalen. And then next Sunday is a triple header, would you believe? Slovenia, Belgium and Spain. And let's face it, we're going to be live from 7 p.m. Make it in your diary, 7 p.m. Central European time. Don't forget, UK people, that's 6 p.m. Don't go turning up an hour late, or you're going to have to watch us on demand. That's YouTube to you and I. In the meantime, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, click the notifications buttons. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on X, Instagram, we're TikTok, we're here, there, we're everywhere. And we are back for Eurovision season 2025. In the meantime, I'd like to say a massive thank you to my panel. A massive thank you to Mick.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, it's been a good one. Can't wait for all the other stuff to come our way.
Thanks, Mick. A big thanks to Alina.
Thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward to the next show.
Big thanks to Paul and Andrew.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Big thanks to Elliot.
Thanks, guys. I shall see you all next time.
And a marvellous thank you to Sean.
Thank you, everybody that watched and will watch over the coming days. Thanks, everyone, for having me back. And I'll see you. Oh, I'll see you on Friday.
Lovely. Sean, you got your finger on the button? He's looking at me. He's like, and we'll see you,
Oh, is it me?
see you next. Yeah, it's you. Got your finger on the button. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.